Hi. Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Dozy.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike MercurialX Finale 2 Indoors in the Spark Brilliance Pack colorway. Now, in the new MercurialX line, this is the first model below the Proximo 2, which is basically the indoor variation of the Superfly 5. And similar to the Superfly 5 and the Vapor 11, they're both top-end models, even though one is more expensive than the other. So if you want a variation of the Superfly 5 for indoor use, the Proximo 2 is what you want, whereas if you want something that isn't necessarily similar to the Vapor 11, but more along the lines of what you get from the Vapor 11 when it comes to fit and feel, maybe something like the Finale is the better option for you. As you can see, they didn't change the design all that significantly coming from the original Finale to the Finale 2, but the materials are a fair bit different and it does change the overall experience of wearing the shoe. So in today's video, we're going to be going over all of the tech specs and performance features that you need to know, take a look at the weight, as well as how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $100 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs and performance with the MercurialX Finale 2. Now this is the indoor variation, and I'll say this right away, this shoe is available in indoor or turf, depending on which bottom that you need. The turf variation, obviously best suited for turf, which is kind of like the rough carpet material. You can also use that on artificial grass as well, whereas the indoor model, obviously best suited for indoor courts or in any kind of concrete street soccer type environment, asphalt, and it actually does hold up pretty well on those types of more abrasive plain surfaces. So with the upper and the overall design of the shoe, they haven't changed it all that significantly coming from the original Finale. What they did change though are the materials. The upper, while not that honeycomb kind of Nike skin that we saw on the original Hypervenom Phantom 1, it's still listed as Nike skin. So what you have here is a mesh-based synthetic material with the thin polyurethane Nike skin layer on top. But instead of being the honeycomb finish, you have basically the 3D speed rib designs or the ribbed look that you would get on the rest of the Mercurial models, kind of mimicking the pattern that you would find within the Flyknit on the Proximo 2 or Superfly 5, whatever you want to call it. Now, it's more artificial on this shoe. It's just kind of added on thickness to the upper. So just like the Superfly 5, it's not necessarily something that you notice all that much on the ball. But as far as what the final touch ends up being like, it's a very, very thin synthetic. There is really not much padding to this material at all, if anything, when compared to the previous MercurialX Finale, which did have that kind of honeycomb mesh Nike skin upper. This does feel thinner, kind of more along the lines of what you would expect from something like a Mercurial Vapor 11, but not quite the same because this isn't Tasian synthetic at the end of the day, but still very thin, and because it is a mesh-based synthetic, it's quite soft, it's quite flexible, and there's really not much break-in time required. So if you're looking for more of a thin barefoot feel, this is definitely thinner in comparison to something like the MercurialX Proximo 2, which is the upper of the Superfly 5. So with that out of the way, you will also find that the laces run through the middle, but it has this kind of neoprene material filling out the center, kind of giving the shoe a one-piece design without actually being kind of a true one-piece shoe in terms of the entire upper being made from the same material, but it does have that one-piece feel. The center part is kind of a stretchy neoprene, so when you slide your foot inside, it stretches out and then kind of compresses back to its original shape, giving you that nice snug kind of one-to-one, very secure sensation on your foot. It does have an internal liner that adds a little bit of structure. It's a very thin microfiber material. And again, if you're looking for something more along the lines of what you would get in terms of fit and feel from the Vapor 11, that's kind of what the Finale 2 Indoor has on offer. Moving on to the heel area, it's pretty much the same design that we got on the previous Finale model, which I'm happy about, and at the same time I wish they would have changed a little bit. It has an internal plastic heel counter and then what is kind of like a one-piece non-openable enclosure. This is elasticated, so you can stretch it out a little bit. It's a little bit tricky to get your foot inside for the first time, but you get used to it quite quickly. And then it does have the kind of padded mesh heel liner on the inside. The issue that I have with this particular setup is that it does fit a little bit shallow for my liking, and because of this material at the back, it can be a little bit slick. It doesn't necessarily lock your heel in place. I wouldn't say badly, but it's not the most effective thing. There is always a little bit of heel slippage I find with this particular shoe, just like the previous Finale model. Not to the point where I thought the shoe was unwearable, but just to the point where it was a little bit annoying. If you do wear something like True Socks, the problem pretty much is completely gone. But just be aware that if heel slippage is something that does bother you, you prefer something with a slightly more secure, kind of deeper fit in the heel, maybe not the best option, but if you've worn previous Finale models that have the same heel setup, expect more of the same, I guess is the best way to put it. On the inside, the insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a mesh liner on top. It is made from a single layer of this Ortholite foam. Relatively thin, but it does get the job done. And then of course the midsole. It's a Phylon midsole, pretty much exactly the same as what you're going to find on the higher end $175 MercurialX Proximo 2. The only difference is the color of the rubber, which obviously isn't as cool looking being translucent neon yellow. This is just solid black, but it is the exact same setup. So you have Phylon foam running pretty much the entire length of the shoe. So again, in comparison to the previous MercurialX Finale 1, this Finale 2 model does have more significant underfoot cushioning. You're not quite as low to the ground, which I personally don't mind, but I know some people like to be really, really close to the ground. This does, like I said, have a more significant amount of foam. You can see here on the medial side, the actual midsole does have some flex grooves, which is kind of cool. There really isn't much rigidity to this shoe. It's quite flexible. There's no plastic running through the middle. So it definitely has a nice flexible sensation, but like I said, there is more underfoot cushioning this time around in comparison to the Finale 1. You also do have a large rubber lip, as we saw with the previous model, as well as nylon stitching. So sole separation of the toe and forefoot area is something that is pretty unlikely on this particular shoe. And then of course the bottom. This is the indoor variation, which features the new indoor bottom with a traction pattern that I much prefer over the previous model. It actually works really, really effectively. You have this kind of tri-star pattern that has some nice flex grooves to it as well. So again, it doesn't take away from the flexibility of the actual midsole at all. And the traction is quite good on both indoor courts as well as on concrete, as well as asphalt, any kind of street soccer environment. Plus it holds up well. So durability is good, traction is good, and that's really all you can ask for from an indoor traction pattern on any kind of indoor style soccer shoes. So all in all, I think this is a really good deal at the $100 price point. The Finale model has always been a pretty good option, whether you're talking about the MercurialX, the Hypervenom X, or the Magista X models. But again, if you're on the market for something that is kind of more Mercurial-esque in terms of being really tight fitting and having a super thin upper in the form of an indoor or turf shoe, I really think that the MercurialX Finale at the $100 price point is a pretty good buy. In terms of weight, I thought we'd compare the MercurialX Proximo 2 to the Finale 2 model to see if there's any significant weight difference between the two. So I'm going to weigh both of these shoes for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind these are both the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the Proximo 2, throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 10.2 ounces, the equivalent of 290 grams, which isn't particularly lightweight, but I wouldn't say it is heavy either. So we'll change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the Finale 2 variation, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.6 ounces, the equivalent of 244 grams. So they're about an ounce and a half lighter in comparison to the Proximo 2, which is a significant amount of weight. You definitely will notice a difference between these two shoes on feet, not only when it comes to weight, but also in terms of how they fit and feel. They share the exact same outsole and midsole, so obviously the underfoot sensation is going to be pretty similar, but the upper is, like I said, a lot thinner and just a lot more minimal on the Finale 2, which changes the feel and obviously has a significant impact on the weight as well. So if you're on the market for a thin pair of Mercurial style indoor shoes, if you have a Superfly 5 and you want an indoor variation, the Proximo 2 is the way to go. Whereas if you prefer something that is going to be thinner, a little bit less bulky, and has a really good tight fit on your foot, then the Finale 2 may be the better option for you to consider. As far as aesthetics go, Nike hasn't really changed all that much with the Finale model. Obviously, there's a little bit of a difference in design with the texturing on the upper, having what kind of looks like stripes running horizontally across the shoe, as well as a little bit of kind of black and pink detailing you have on either side. But for the most part, the design is pretty straightforward. You have the Mercurial style swoosh here at the front in neon yellow, total crimson for basically the lateral side of the upper, whereas the top of the shoe, medial side, and heel area is all solid black. It has a nice matte black color to it. You have a Volt yellow swoosh right there at the back of the heel, your MercurialX branding in Volt as well, and then of course the midsole and outsole is all solid black. This of course being the initial Spark Brilliance pack colorway. So all in all, I don't mind how the shoe looks, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the Finale 2's on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of black and neon yellow speckled SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. Find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, honestly, the overall fit is not too far off from the previous Finale model because they didn't really change the design of the upper. They just changed up the material a little bit. I will say this upper does feel a little bit less stretchy, which is probably a good thing in the long run, just in terms of responsiveness, just because your foot can't move around quite as much. This isn't gonna have the same kind of stretchy quality that you got from the original Finale. So it does fit ever so slightly more snug in the forefoot area mainly, but for the most part, it fits comfortably. It's a tighter fitting shoe as you would expect, just given the low profile design of the upper. I like the one piece aspect of it as well, no overlapping materials across the top of your foot. And as far as heel slippage is concerned, while the design is very, very similar, this does seem to lock your heel in place a little bit better. There really isn't much in the way of heel slippage, so they did change something despite it looking very, very similar, again, to the previous model. So for the most part, the shoes fit really well. It is quite flexible, even though there is more to the midsole this time around. And again, if you want a low profile, thin, tighter fitting shoe, that's what you get from the Finale 2. As far as fit is concerned, like I said, it is a tighter fit overall. If you don't like tight fitting shoes, probably not the best option for you. And there isn't a ton of width in the toe box and forefoot area. So for the most part, for tighter fitting shoes, I think they will fit most people. But if you do have excessively wide feet, maybe not the best option for you. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So just like previous MercurialX models, if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the MercurialX Finale 2 indoors. If you're interested in more info as well as where to buy these, check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. If you guys do have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.